Hello, hello, hello. Um, can you hear me? I'm not sure. And I'm not sure how to check, but I literally ran out of time in the day. So this was going to get done now. Um, this is the first of another year of dailies. This year, instead of coding, I will be not necessarily teaching, but sort of going over my thoughts on a chronological study. I'm going through the Bible. I do this every year. I try to do this, which is just read through the Bible uh, front to back. Um, I discovered a chronological sort of plan to do so, which is not necessarily as the books are presented canonically, not necessarily as the books are presented in your Bible that you might pick off the shelf, but rather in historian and scholars' best estimation of what actually happened as it did. So, um, a characteristic of that is something like the Psalms. We've got a book of Psalms, the songs, but when you're reading it chronologically, these get spread out throughout the Old Testament because they weren't written as like an album. They weren't written as like a book on its own. They were written at various points, and it gives so much more context. When you read a Psalm of David, and he's lamenting, the sin that he committed with Bathsheba or the death of the resulting child, and he then um, writes a psalm about it. You have the context, and then a psalm. I feel I've found it makes things. It brings a lot of context to things. So this year, every day as I read, I'll come on here, I'll give some thoughts, a couple of hot takes here and there, um, but all as a means of sharing, and maybe bring your thoughts on the Bible, and sharing some perspectives that I found and that I find as I go through. Um, so yeah, literally, we just put the kids down and got back from traveling over the new year, spent it with family. So I wasn't able to, I have done my reading, but I wasn't able to record on the first. So I'm recording at 12 o'clock on the second, or 12 a.m. on the second. I started recording, and this is how I'm going to sleep tonight, at 11:59 on the 1st of January. Either way. Um, for today, the I want to share some of the resources. So I'll be sharing sort of the plan I'm using, the tools I'm using to do it, um, and this is for anyone that's interested. So you guys can jump on. Um, let's see if I can share a screen. I can. Beautiful. I'm also not set up to stream. Like I was planning on doing this when we got back and traffic, etc. So I wasn't able to do it immediately. But I start as I intend to finish, which is I will at least do it. So let's see if I can't get up the various bits that I will be using. Um, I This is very riveting information as I look through to try and bring it up without actually showing you guys what I'm doing. But I'm just trying to find my the tool that I use. The Bible up. Yep. Cool. Cool. Okay. And then there's also one more that I need to share, which is this bad boy. And if I think of anything on the way, then I'll let you know. Cool. So let's share a window. All right. Sorry for the delay. Cool. So um the plan that I'm using is this one, chronological from the Bible app. So YouVersion's Bible app, probably one of the more common Bible apps that I've seen around. Almost everyone I know has this on their phone. It's absolutely free, and all the tools I'll be sharing will be free, so that you can actually just jump in. Um, I was using this because it's supposed to be able to keep everything in sync, which it doesn't seem to have done, which is annoying. But it's free, it's available, um, and as proof, you can hopefully see that's day one. That is red. It's not showing up on the app, which is annoying. But yeah, you go through and it just sort of, yeah, you can take along. I have made mine public so anyone can see when I've done it and keep me accountable. This was created by Blue Letter Bible. Um, they sort of put this plan together, and by the end of the year, you would have read through the whole Bible. Talking of Blue Letter Bible, um, they are also another free website. Um, they've got tons of super helpful, super useful um, commentaries. All of these guys have commentaries on there. They've got, how many of the Gospels, some books available. All of these are free. You can actually even use their uh, their stuff all for free. And with the plan that they created, so again, I saw this earlier, and forgive me, I haven't put this all together yet because, as I said, I just ran out of time in the day. But yeah, they've got tons of plans here. Um, you can you can either log into Blue Letter Bible and then also sort of track it, or you can download a PDF. So the chronological plan that I'm using is this one, um, and yeah, they with their Bible, so they've got all of these sort of super helpful like dictionaries and concordances and all of that. That's super useful. Um, so yeah, if you want to use that, you can. Otherwise, version I found is super easy to use. You can just go through it. You can listen to it as well. And there's that. As we go, I'll use AI sometimes because I use AI sometimes to do my um, to do various things. Um, I don't trust AI entirely because it's still, it's new technology and it does get things wrong. And I think Bible study should be an opportunity to focus in on what God is saying. So I'm not using AI to sort of circumvent that, but rather to help with various searches or compile certain things. I use AI, so I'll be showing some of that as well. And just to keep this short and waste your time less, if I just look at what we looked at today. So today was sort of the creation story, um, man and woman being created, and God sort of speaking to, God giving them uh, everything that they everything that they needed and had, creating the animals, naming the animals, all of that. Thoughts today are thoughts that I've had before. As I've done this a few times before, and one of the things that always sticks out to me is how similar. So actually, maybe let's see if I can just quickly uh, let's open up a new page and let's get Chat GPT up. So let's uh, give a brief summary of common creation stories and myths, especially including those that would have been told around the time biblical Moses was growing in Pharaoh's now, specifically for that, and again, so this is what I sort of mean, right? I'm not going to take this as fact, and if I wanted to like make anything more serious out of what I'm looking at, oh, you can't see. Okay, cool, that's worth noting. So I just put into ChatGPT what I said. I want a brief summary of common creation stories and myths, especially those that would have been going around the time Moses, biblical Moses, was growing up in Pharaoh's house. The reason I did that is because the first five books of the Bible are attributed to Moses, even by Jesus Christ himself. And so scholars can say what they want, but if Jesus says it's Moses or someone that believes Jesus is God, I'm going to take that as fact. Um, and in his sort of penning down the Torah, there is an understanding that a lot of it was oral histories that would have been passed down among the Hebrews, which is all good and well. But what stood out to me was what doesn't make it in, right? If Moses himself was someone that was, though raised by his Hebrew mum, raised in Pharaoh's palace, and I'm led to believe raised with, all of Egypt's education system, raised as a son of Pharaoh's daughter, then if he was just penning down creation stories, he could have penned down the ones that he would have undoubtedly learned in Pharaoh's temple. But he sticks to the Hebrew creation story. And the reason that I wanted to sort of highlight that is of creation stories. So I used to be a bit of a mythology, I want to say buff. There was one book of mythology that my dad had that I liked reading. And I really found some of the stories like interesting, all the creation stories and mythologies that different cultures have. And you've got, so just pulling this up, the Egyptian creation myth is that you know the creator god Atum emerged from the primordial waters of chaos and created the world by speaking these things into existence. So he spoke the sky, the earth, the gods, Shu, Tefnut, into existence, which is cool actually because that's somewhat similar to God speaking this, except Atom here seems to have been created. So he wasn't there at the start. He emerged from it, which is different from the biblical story. First three chapters of Genesis, God was there already and had been. You know, Babylonian have um, they've also got primordial sort of waters, um, a primordial um, saltwater goddess Tiamat, um, and a freshwater god Apsu, and they were overthrown by younger gods who then split the body and then created the heavens and the earth from the body. So that's cool. Um, the Canaanites had their own, Sumerians had their own. Uh, all of that to say, of all the mythologies that I've sort of come across, and I haven't come across all of them, the one that lines up the most, and I use lines up loosely, right? It lines up in the sense that, it says there was a big bang, which, if you look at in Genesis, there was silence apparently, and then God spoke, big bang. And then there was light being first. And we believe in the Big Bang Theory that it was light. And there's a whole comparison table that I might actually create and then share tomorrow or today. Um, But if you look at the way the Bible presents the order in which things were created, it most lines up with the Big Bang Theory, which is sort of our best estimation presently as to the creation of the universe. And I just find stuff like that curious. Um, and yeah, just the thought of God creating us the way He does, and it not just being, God snapped His fingers like Thanos and everything came to being, or some fantastic tale of gods and their children overpowering them and all of that. I just find that interesting. So cool. That was the first three chapters. And I will do a better job of presenting this and get my setup proper so that this isn't just me literally screen sharing and jumping straight into YouTube. I can do a little bit better than that. But this was day one, and I intend to carry on. So thank you for joining or watching this whenever you do. And I hope you guys have a beautiful 2026. Peace out.